Hello, my dear students. Welcome to Teacher at Home. Today class we are going to learn the third chapter, Delhi, 12th to 15th century. In chapter 2, we saw the regions like the Kaveri Delta became the center of large kingdoms. Did you notice that there was no mention of a kingdom with Delhi as its capital? That was because Delhi became an important city only in the 12th century. Take a look at the table. Delhi first became the capital of a kingdom under the Tomara Rajputs, who were defeated in the middle of the 12th century by the Chauhans, also referred to as Chahmanas of Ajmer. It was under the Tomaras and Chauhans that Delhi became an important commercial center. Many rich Jaina merchants lived in the city and constructed several temples. Coins minted here, called Dehliwal, had a wide circulation. The transformation of Delhi into capital that controlled vast areas of the subcontinent started with the foundation of the Delhi Sultanate in the beginning of the 13th century. Take a look at the table again and identify the five dynasties that together made the Delhi Sultanate. Delhi Sultans built many cities in the area that we now know as Delhi. Look at map and locate Delhi, Kunhas, Shiri and Janabada. Rulers of Delhi. Tomaras, early 12th century, 1165. Angabala, 1130-1145. Chauhans, 1165-1192. Prithviraj Chauhan, 1175-1192. Early Turkish rulers, 1206-1290. Qutbuddin Aybak, 1206-1210. Shamsuddin Iltutmish, 1210-1236. Razia, 1236-1240. Ghiyasuddin Balban, 1266-1287. Khalchi Dynasty, 1290-1320. Jalaluddin Khalji, 1290-1296. Alauddin Khalji, 1296-1316. Tughlaq Dynasty, 1320-1414. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, 1320-1324. Muhammad Tughlaq, 1324-1351. Firoz Shah Tughlaq, 1351-1388. Sayyid Dynasty, 1414-1451. Khizr Khan, 1414-1421. Lodi Dynasty, 1451-1526. Bahlul Lodi, 1451-1489. Understanding Delhi under the Sultans. Histories are now known as Tuareg in Persian language of administration under the Delhi Sultans. The author of Tariq were learned men, secretaries, administrators, poets and courtiers, who both recounted events and advised rulers on governance, emphasizing the importance of just rule. The Circle of Justice. Fakir Mudabir wrote in the 13th century, a king cannot survive without soldiers. Soldiers cannot live without salaries. Salaries come from the revenue collected from peasants. But peasants can pay revenue only when they are prosperous and happy. This happens when the king promotes justice and honest governance. Keep the following additional details in mind. The authors of Tariq lived in cities, mainly Delhi, hardly ever in villages. They often wrote their histories for sultans in the hope of rich rewards. These authors advised rulers on the need to preserve an ideal social order based on birthright and gender distinctions. Their ideas were not shared by everybody. In 1236, Sultan Iltutmish's daughter Razia became Sultan. The chronicler of the age, Minhaj-i-Siraj, recognized that she was more able and qualified than all her brothers. But he was not comfortable at having a queen as a ruler. Nor were the nobles happy at their attempts to rule independently. She was removed from the throne in 1240. What Minhaj-i-Siraj thought about Razia. Minhaj-i-Siraj thought that the queen's rule went against the ideal social order created by God, in which women were supposed to be subordinate to men. He therefore asked in the register of God's creation, since her account did not fall under the column of man, how did she gain from all of her excellent qualities? On her inscriptions and coins, Razia mentioned that she was the daughter of Sultan Iltutmish. This was in contrast to the Queen Rudrama Devi of the Kagadiya dynasty of Warangal, part of modern Andhra Pradesh. Rudrama Devi changed her name on the inscriptions and pretended she was a man. Another Queen Dida ruled in Kashmir, 980 to 1003. Her title is interesting. It comes from Didi or elder sister, an obviously affectionate term given to a loud ruler by her subjects. A closer look: administration under the Khaljis and the Tughlaqs. The consolidation of a kingdom, as vast as the Delhi Sultanate, needed reliable governors and administrators. Rather than appointing aristocrats and landed chieftains as governors, the early Delhi Sultan, especially Iltutmish, favored their special slaves purchased for military service called Bandagan in Persian. They were carefully trained to man some of the most important political offices in the kingdom. Since they were totally dependent upon their master, the Sultan could trust and rely upon them. Slaves rather than sons, the sultans were advised. A slave whom one has brought up and promoted must be looked after for its need a whole lifetime, and good luck to find a worthy and experienced slave. Wise men have said that a worthy and experienced slave is better than a son. The Khaljis and Tughlaqs continued to use Bandagan and also raised people of humble birth, who were often their clients, to high political positions. They were appointed as generals and governors. However, this also introduced an element of political instability. Slaves and clients were loyal to their masters and patrons, but not to their heirs. Sultans had their own servants. As a result, the accessions of a new monarch often saw conflict between the old and the new nobility. Patronage of the humble people by the Delhi sultans also shocked many elites, and the authors of Persian Tuareg criticized the Delhi sultans for appointing the low and base-born to high offices. Officials of Sultan Muhammad Tughlaq. Sultan Muhammad Tughlaq appointed Aziz Kumar, a wine distiller, Firuz Hajam, a barber, Manga Tabak, a cook, and two gardeners, Lada and Pirai, to high administrative posts. Siaduddin Barani, a mid-14th century chronicler, reported the appointments as a sign of the Sultan's loss of political judgment and his incapacity to rule. Like the earlier sultans, the Khalji and Tughlaq monarchs appointed military commanders as governors of territories of varying sizes. These lands were called Ikta and their holder are called Iktadar or Mukti. The duty of the Muktis was to lead military campaigns and maintain law and order in the Iktas. In exchange for the military services, the Muktis collected the revenue for their assignments as salary. They also paid their soldiers from these revenues. Control over Muktis was not much most effective if their office was not inheritable and if they were assigned iktas for a short period of time before being shifted. These hard conditions of service were rigorously imposed during the reigns of Alauddin Khalji and Muhammad Tughlaq. Accountants were appointed by the state to check the amount of revenue collected by the Muktis. Care was taken that the Mukti collected only the taxes prescribed by the state, and he kept the required number of soldiers. As the Delhi Sultan brought the hinterland of the cities under their control, they forced the landed chieftains, the Samandar aristocrats, and rich landlords to accept their authority. Under Alauddin Khalji, the state brought the assessment and collection of land revenue under its own control. The rights of the local chieftains to heavy taxes were cancelled, and they were also forced to pay taxes. The Sultan's administrators measured the land and kept careful accounts. Some of the old chieftains and landlords served the Sultanate as revenue collectors and assessors. There were three types of taxes on cultivation called Karaj and mounting to about 50% of the peasants' produce, on cattle and on houses. It is important to remember that large parts of the subcontinent remained outside the control of Delhi sultans. It was difficult to control distant provinces like Bengal from Delhi and soon after annexing southern India. Entire region became independent. Even in the Gangetic Plain, there were forested areas that Sultanate forces could not penetrate. Local chieftains established their rule in these regions. Sometimes rulers like Alauddin Khilji and Muhammad Tughlaq could force their control in these areas, but only for a short duration. Chieftains and their fortifications. Ibn Battuta, a 14th century traveler from Morocco, Africa, explained the chieftains sometimes fortified themselves in mountains, in rocky, uneven, and rugged places, as well as in bamboo groves. In India, the bamboo is not hollow, it is big. Its several parts are so intertwined that even fire cannot affect them, and they are on the whole very strong. The chieftains lived in these forests, which served them as some ramparts inside which they are their cattle and their crops. There is also water for them within, that is rainwater which collects there. Hence they cannot be subdued except by powerful armies who entering this forest cut down the bamboo with specially prepared instruments. Mongols under Genghis Khan invaded Transoxiana in northeast Iraq in 1219 and the Delhi Sultanate faced their onslaught soon after. Mongol attacks on the Delhi Sultanate increased during the reign of Alauddin Khilji and the early years of Muhammad Tughlaq's rule. This forced the true rulers to mobilize a large standing army in Delhi who posed a huge administrative challenge. The Sultanate in the 15th and 16th centuries. Take a look of table 1 again, you will notice that after the Tughlaqs, the Sayyid and the Lodhi dynasties ruled from Delhi and Agra until 1526. By then, Jagunpur, Bengal, Malwa, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and the entire South India have independent rulers who established flourishing states and proposes prosperous capitals. This was also the period which saw the emergence of new ruling groups like the Afghans and the Rajputs. Some of the states established in the period were small but powerful and extremely well administered. Sher Shah Shur started his career as a manager of a small tertiary for his uncle in Bihar, eventually challenged and defeated the Mughal Emperor Humayun 1530, 1540, 1555 to 56. Sher Shah captured Delhi and established his own dynasty. Although the Sur dynasty ruled for only 15 years, it introduced an administration that borrowed elements from Alauddin Khilji and made them more efficient. Sher Shah's administration became the model followed by the great emperor Akbar 1556-1605 when he consolidated the Mughal Empire. So that's all about this chapter. If you're interested, please do like, share and subscribe my channel. Okay, thank you.